The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at Gruns.co. That's code podcast at GRUNS.co.
Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network. You can reach me at JSOUHAN47@gmail.com. Welcome back to the Russo-Souhan Show, part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. The network is growing. We've added the former Vikings general manager Jeff Diamond. We're working on a couple of other new shows, and our listeners are way up. It's been a blast to build the network with people like Michael. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. If you'd like to advertise with this program or any on the network or the network as a whole, you can reach me at JSOUHAN47@gmail.com. Thanks to our current sponsors on this program, Dulono's Pizza. Next live show, September 18th, 5:30 at Dulono's. Please come by. And it's been a blast doing shows there. They have great food, bubble hockey, full drink menu, craft beer, and I highly recommend their pizza, especially even for somebody who has to eat gluten-free. I love their gluten-free pizza. So September 18th, 5:30. Thanks also to Twill in the United Galleria, twillmn.com. Whizkids.tech, the Minneapolis tech company that can help your business become your chief technology ally. Fixologyrepair.com, long-term sponsors. And Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, will tell you about all their businesses here coming up. Let's start, though. We're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, and Stevie Y just said he's going to step down. Take me inside that story.
Yeah, I just listened to the news conference, and he has stepped down as GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Julien Brisebois, who interviewed for the Wild job, by the way, in town here. He was actually brought to town in one of those in-person interviews. He takes over as GM. Stevie Y, for the remaining year of his contract, will be his senior advisor. And then Steve Yzerman made it very clear, I don't know what's next. They were pressing him on that. He has made it clear that he's moving back to Detroit. Quality of life. His 3 daughters are in college. His wife still has lived in Detroit, and he's moving back there. So already, and you can bet your life, the speculation the next couple of years is that he's going to eventually become the next general manager of the Detroit Red Wings. Kenny Holland signed to a 2-year extension earlier this summer. So wouldn't be shocking after this year if Stevie Y is brought on as his advisor and then eventually assumes GM of the Detroit Red Wings, which makes a lot of sense. Why is it? And it is interesting. I mean, Steve Yzerman this summer, he set the future up for that team, signed guys to a bunch of extensions, came into town, signed Ryan McDonough to that extension with Ben Hankinson. And so he did all his business, and a lot of people have asked why 2 days before the season. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, this isn't like when Patrick Waugh quit the Colorado Avalanche right before the season, or when I quit the Strib right before the season, quite frankly. It's not like Steve Yzerman forgot to order the equipment and, they don't have any jerseys and didn't pay the electricity bills for the ice and forgot to sign a couple players. I mean, Julien Brisebois has set up. The future of the Tampa Bay Lightning is phenomenal. Great minor league system as well. They've drafted and developed the right way, which is the bloodline of any good organization for consistency, and it's why they've been good. The one thing that they've lacked the last 8 years is a Stanley Cup. They've come on the verge, and maybe they can do it in this final year with at least Steve on the staff. But it's interesting. The one thing I was thinking about over here is remember 9 years ago I've reported it. Steve Yzerman was the leading candidate to get the Wild GM job the first time, and it was the year that he was going to be the rookie GM for the 2010 Olympic team in Vancouver, and he didn't feel like, to be a rookie NHL GM, that it was fair to the Minnesota Wild to also be doing Team Canada at once. And he goes and manages Canada to gold. You and I both covered it for the Strib. And then all of a sudden, boom, takes the Tampa Bay Lightning job. So the Wild were a year too early firing Doug Risebrough, or Yzerman would have been the GM of the Wild. They got Chuck Fletcher for 9 years, 6 straight postseasons under Fletcher. But you do have to wonder, how different would it have been if Yzerman takes over a year later? Do they trade Brent Burns? Do they sign Parisi and Suter? Do they make the playoffs 6 straight years? It is interesting, revisionist history on where this organization would have been, for better or worse, if Steve Yzerman had been the GM the last 8 years as opposed to Chuck Fletcher the last 9.
So what's your educated guess? Where would they be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can't argue with the 6 straight years. Chuck Fletcher was given sort of an edict by Craig Leopold, like, I want to win. I don't want you to tear this down and go get franchise players number 1 in the draft. I want to win. And Steve Yzerman would have been given that same edict. Now, they might have had a different plan, but they, at the end of the day, might have had to have the same strategy. So you can't argue with the fact that 6 straight years they made the playoffs, and the Wild did draft and develop well in terms of their core that they have on the team right away. But the one thing that they lack are those, Kucherovs. I would venture to guess they would have had a lot more Russians in the organization. I could say that. That was something that clearly Brent and Chuck, that has not been their philosophy for a while, and we're seeing with Kaprizov why maybe that has been their philosophy. But right now, they've made the playoffs 6 straight years, and they're back into trying to get over the hump. And Tampa Bay goes on, and so does Stevie Y.
What's your favorite thing about Dulono's Pizza, Mike?
Well, they were incredible the other day for Athletic Party. Just awesome customer service and everything. But you know me, I like the salad bar.
Yeah, and you go there for lunch. They also, I've had their pizzas. You can order by going to Dulonospizza.com. You can call them 612-767-9494. That's the downtown Minneapolis location. They also have we do our live shows at the downtown location, 118 North 4th Street. It's right there by Ramp C, so it's perfect for pre-sporting events because you are literally parking a block away. They also have their own parking lot and street parking right outside. It's just really accessible. They also have a location in Woodbury, 651-735-6700. And with 2 shops, they have a huge delivery area. So check out Dulonospizza.com for their menu. Again, I love the pizza, but they have a very varied menu. You can get all kinds of different stuff. And they have happy hours. They're open really late at night. They're also open. They also have the lunch specials that Mike talked about. But I like the pizza. So check out Dulonospizza.com. Is there any other meat? Is there any more meat on the bone with the Stevie Y story? Anything else? You obviously don't think this means that they're in any kind of trouble.
No.
Let me ask you this.
Let's put it this way: Julien Brisebois probably hit the lottery by not getting the Wild job.
Yeah, no kidding.
It was Fenton's job to lose. He almost did to Tom Fitzgerald, but Julien Brisebois was never getting the job. I think Steve Yzerman did Brisebois a favor by getting him an interview here. There's a lot of respect still between Yzerman and Craig Leopold, but again, I think that Brisebois knew that coming in here it was more practice for interviewing, and that he wasn't getting this job. But in hindsight, it probably worked out for him that he didn't get this job and didn't get other jobs that he's applied for over the years, because stepping in for a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning, as good as they are, as set up as they are for the future, I mean, this is hitting the lottery for him. And no state income tax doesn't hurt.
Says the former Florida resident. Let's get philosophical here, because we're about to get deluged with actual practice news and roster news and everything else. We're going to get to your Q&A with Bruce Boudreau here in a minute too. I was at a Timberwolves event with some Timberwolves people the other night, and we were all talking about the future of sports, and we were watching the Twins play and saying, okay, are people really going to stick with baseball if you continue to have 3-4 hour games and long seasons a lot of meaningless games, and there's hardly anybody in the ballpark for the Yankees series. What's the future of baseball? It doesn't look very bright. Then you look at the NFL, injury problems. The ratings are still great. There's no doubt. But you do wonder if over the course of time, people not wanting their kids to play football, if that's eventually going to depress their audience.
No.
And then we thought, well, I don't know. And then we were talking and said the NBA looks like it's really set up both to succeed both in America and globally. And I was wondering, what do you think? Where do you think the NHL fits in that discussion?
Well, first of all, to go back on your thing, it is interesting that State Fair outdrew the Twins this season.
Yes.
But the future of the Twins, reading our guy, Dan Hayes, and I'm sure Lavelle is right in the saying, the future of the Twins seems bright. I know a lot of people probably roll their eyes at that with everybody that Falvey and Levine put in place, but because of what's going on with Buxton and Snow having a tough year. But you look at the class that they've got coming, and it looks like it's pretty special. So we'll see. All I know is reading about the Chicago Green Bay game the other day. Their ratings were absolutely erupted.
The first week of the NFL season killed it in terms of ratings.
And the Vikings was an unbelievable share.
Yep.
And all I know is that somebody like me who will in the next several weeks probably not watch a lot of football because the Wild are on. I watched from noon that day until 10, 11 at night football. I was over at, for Rosh Hashanah dinner, I was over at a friend's house, their family, and they had friends there as well watching the Packer and Bears game, and they're mostly young people, and they were all going crazy about how good that game was and looking forward to the football season. So I just don't buy that that football is about to collapse. It's always going to be the sport of this country. And in NBA, I don't profess to be a expert on. In terms of the NHL, ratings have been as good as, look, are they ever going to catch the other sports? No, but ratings and attendance has been through the roof several years. And that's with 3 work stoppages in since 94, 95, and a potential of a 4th coming up here in a couple of years. Although I'm starting to be more and more optimistic that there won't be. So we'll see. But again, I just think that hockey's healthy right now on the ice. It's been unbelievable. Parity's been unbelievable. Competitive balance has been great. The superstars of this sport right now are awesome. You might not know it here, but elsewhere. Sorry, Philip. And but that's just that's just my opinion on that.
Well, I agree with you on the NFL. The NFL is incredibly popular. It's not taking any hits right now. I don't know if they get to a point where the head injuries just ruin the sport. But right now, it's just incredibly popular. I could see the NHL increasing its market share. It's been able to survive in the South, which was always a big question. And the Canadian teams are never going to go away. And the Wild are going to sell out almost no matter what they do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting this year. It will be. Fans. We've talked about the angst of this fan base for a while, but this is the first time that, every time I write a story, you get the 3 or 4 people that write back like yawn, wake me up when they make a big move, or wake me up when
which
they
is always
go past
classic.
the first round.
They care enough to tweet to you, but
those are the people. By the way, if you want me to ever see your tweets again, you don't want to say yawn or who cares. Because I'll just promise you might be the biggest Russo fan, you might be the biggest Wild fan, you might be an Athletic subscriber, but I'll never see your tweet again. Because that's a surefire way for me to just mute you and never see you again. So just a little warning there. There's nothing that just drives me crazy than spending hours writing a story like the one I did today on the Boudreaux one, and then your first response is, who cares, wake me up when it's so, sorry. I don't like that type of stuff. So
we got our first agitated Russo. That's awesome. We got to get agitated Russo.
I was thinking of somebody specifically who has been blocked forever.
We have to get agitated Russo out to Twill in the Dining Galleria to do a show here sometime soon. Twill Scott Dayton has been sponsoring the program for a long time now. You can get Alden shoes there. You get Peter Millar Crown Shop. I'm actually getting tweets from people questioning my pronunciation of Twill brands now, of some of the brands they carry there. Peter Millar. I'm told it's like Kevin Millar, Peter Millar. I own Peter Millar stuff. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. Barber is the other brand that people question my pronunciation of. I think I'm getting it right. Scott's told me I'm getting it right, and I wear their stuff. Johnny O, I can actually pronounce correctly no matter what, and I bought a lot of their stuff. And again, I buy their stuff with my own money because I like shopping there and I love the stuff. And the cool thing about the stuff you buy at Twill is going to last a long time.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop by Twill in the Edina Galleria for the best shopping experience and best clothes you'll find in the Twin Cities.
All right, you want to go to Twitter question? You got to tell me about the Boudreaux Q&A. Tell me what the highlights
actually,
were
just
for you.
rest of there are other stuff going on around the league right now. Pat Reddy was traded to Vegas, signed an extension there for the $7 million a year. He didn't get the term that a guy like JVR did, but I told you at the draft that when he fired his agent because his agent wanted him to sign a low ball offer with Montreal. He fired his agent, and a deal with LA fell apart, and he hired Alan Walsh, and Alan got him the money, $7 million a year, coming off a horrific year with Montreal, and he goes to Vegas, where, by the way, there's no state income tax. So he got the last laugh there. And then the other big thing that's going on right now is Erik Karlsson. What happens with him? Everybody expects that he's going to be traded by Ottawa at some point. The teams, again, that are supposedly in it are Vegas, Dallas, Tampa Bay, San Jose. Any team that trades for Erik Karlsson that's going to give up a ton of assets probably needs to know without a shadow of a doubt that he is going to re-sign there immediately on an extension, which is why I know a lot of Wild fans say it makes all the sense in the world for the Wild to go after him. But he wants $10 million a year, so you're going to have to give up a couple high-priced players. If you're going to trade a Dumba or a Brodin and one of their top highly paid forwards, you better know that he's re-signing immediately with you for 8 years times 10 or 11. And if you don't get that impression that he will, or if you don't know for a fact he will, which you would know, you can't make that trade. So I don't see Karlsson coming to Minnesota as much as, I think he'd be a perfect fit here, even though you'd have to give up a couple of big assets to get rid of him, to sign him.
Right.
In terms of Boudreaux, Bruce, we talked, and again, it's on theathletic.com today, tons of questions. Every single thing that you'd want to know going into the season that you might have as a question is in there, other than I didn't ask him when he's going to strip the C. I didn't do that. But he talks about line combinations. Line combinations are pretty much what we've talked about all along. He's going to start camp with Zuckerstall and Granlund, Parise, Koivu, and probably Niederreiter to start, Greenway, Eriksson Ek, and Coyle to start, but those are flippable with Nino. And then the fourth line is going to be a combination of, it's going to be Foligno, Fair, and then either Brown or Matty Hendricks. Matt Reen will be interchangeable in there. Kyle Rao will be interchangeable in there. On the D pairs, I asked Suter the other day, hey, who's your defense partner? And he said, Jared Spurgeon. And I asked Boudreaux that, and he just laughed and pointed out that Dumba and Suter together, that both their numbers coincidentally are better when they're together rather than Suter with Spurgeon. But we'll see. Bruce made it clear that both Suter and Spurgeon will play with Ryan in training camp. And again, Ryan might not play any exhibition games, so we might not see them with their normal defense partner in a preseason game anyway. But let's just say it's Spurgeon with Suter at the end of the day, which I think we all think it eventually will get to. It'll be Brodin and Dumba, then probably Sealer and Patterin. Sealer doesn't require waivers, even though he's on a one-way deal to get to the minors, so he still has to make the team. Because if Gustav Olsson's awesome, potentially he makes the team. Nate Prosser is going to be obviously in the mix, or if you're only keeping 7D, which cap-wise you might really need to, Olofsson or Prosser do require waivers to get to the minors. And then obviously you have Soucy there, and then you have Ryan Murphy there, and you have Louis Belpedio there. Luke Cunnin, it was another part of this Q&A. Bruce said that Luke Cunnin is not going to be cleared for contact to start camp and at least won't play exhibition games early. So I think it's almost certain that he's going to start the season in the minors. And then again, if you read this Q&A, it's very clear that Greenway has the inside track to make this team. They're all talking about it, Jim, and both Fenton and Boudreau are basically talking like he's on this team. And we could talk more about the Q&A in a bit.
Very interesting. Our listener numbers have gone way up. I think we had about 150,000 listens across the network last month, which is an all-time high for us.
That's insane.
When you listen, if you could download, that will do us a lot of good as we start talking to bigger companies. It's just one more click, and hit up Brandon's banter on Twitter if you're not sure exactly how to download. He'll explain it to you. So if you can download instead of listen, that'd be great. It's also a better listening experience because you won't have any Wi-Fi problems or any interruptions. And also, we want to thank one of our primary sponsors, Whizkids.tech. It's WHIZKIDS. And if you want to reach them to ask them if they can help you with your technological needs, you can email them at hello@whizkidit.com. That's hello@WHIZKIDIT.com. Let them be your chief technology ally.
Hello, Minnesota sports fans. This is Michael Thanner, founder and CEO of WizKids. WizKids is a Minneapolis-based managed IT, hosted VoIP, and cloud services provider. Businesses today require fast response times, skilled support staff, clear communication, and technology recommendations that align with their business goals. At WizKids, we do this each and every day with our clients. When you call into our help desk for support or work with one of our higher-level engineers on a complex issue, you'll find our staff personable and ready to roll up their sleeves to help you solve your technology problems. Reach out to WizKids today to find out how we can help your business meet your technology goals. Visit us online at Whizkids.tech. That's Whizkids.tech. WizKids, make it happen.
All right, let's get more into Greenway.
Yeah, that again. It's like they drool over him, and we'll see. I mean, right now he's playing well in their prospect tournament in Traverse City, which ends today, the day that we're filming. We're recording.
We might be filming.
Yeah,
we just don't know about it.
Yeah. Well, there's probably like a camera right there that Russo Slorts has on me. But he's playing well in this tournament. But as I said last week, I mean, he should play well in this tournament. And we'll see if it gives him a head start, a running start going into training camp. You want to see him play more physical with more pace, play with the puck more, go to the net. But again, he's going to play with Eriksson Ek, and that's a young line. Bruce says in this Q&A he'd like them to take a little defensive responsibilities this season away from Mikko Koivu, and he is going to meet with Mikko and tell him, I want you to be more offensive. If you're going to play with Parisi and Nino, you need to be more offensive this year, and not the way that he was last year. So that'll be interesting, and how that conversation goes. I'd love to be in that meeting. Eriksson Ek was a big part of this Q&A. They are expecting huge things from him this year. Be their third-line center, win key draws, which, as you know, he was the worst face-off centerman, regular centerman in the league last year at 42.6%. They want him to take a two-way step this year and be on a real quality two-way line with Greenway and Coyle, or Nina Ryder. So we'll see if that can be. What else? He's expecting huge bounce-back years from Coyle and Nina Ryder. Massive. He's hoping that Parisi could start the way he finished. And that was kind of the gist of the Q&A. Really positive on Nick Seeler. Expecting Matt Reed, who they signed, who's played 400 some odd games for the Flyers, but his career is hanging by a thread, to come in very motivated and put some pressure on Greenway to make the team. But again, there's one roster spot really available if they're healthy coming out of camp for Reed, for Greenway, for Cunnin, for Rao, for Annis. There's really one spot. So it's going to be hard if the Wild are healthy and Greenway is good for Reed to make the team.
Is Bruce usually optimistic this time of the year?
Yeah, he is. He always expects to win the division. I think he's motivated. He's motivated by the prognosticators all doubting this team. They're down to 35-1 odds by Bovada, by the way, to win the Stanley Cup this year. And a lot of people, and I get it, everybody expected this team to make bold moves. You have Winnipeg and Nashville in this division. You have Colorado up and coming. You got St. Louis at least making the most moves in the division. You have Dallas, who has Ben and Sagan. You got and you got Chicago in there. So, there's just the same people that have always expected the Wild to take a step back and have been wrong usually, by the way, are the ones picking them again. And this time maybe they'll be right, and then they'll claim, oh, see, I called it, when they were, for 5 years in a row saying the Wild weren't going to be very good. And yet, as I said, they're the one team consistently in this league that usually makes the playoffs. But getting past there is the problem.
Let's do some Twitter questions here from Zach Brown. Who impressed for the Wild at Traverse City?
Well, I mentioned Greenway. Sokolov's looked good. Alex Kavanagh is the Russian that they took in the mid-rounds in June. He's somebody that a couple years ago was another Russian that was supposed to be a real high draft pick. And then he missed all of last season because he went to the Dominican Republic and contracted hepatitis A.
Oh, man.
And he's somebody that for his junior team, we did a story the other day on The Athletic. He says that he wants to get 100 points this year for his junior team. He's got crazy skill. Just watch some of the videos that have been tweeted out the last couple of days by our Jake Jensen and some people like that on Twitter. He's got really good skill. So there's definitely some guys that have impressed there. Mason Shaw, what's really good is that he's still playing and seems to be on his way back from this knee injury that he sustained last year in Traverse City.
Cool. Quickly, I want to tell you about Fixologyrepair.com, John Hedges' shop. John comes out to all the live shows. He's also sponsoring our Viking Update show. They can do engraving. They can fix your Apple device. Yes, sir?
Yeah, and I gave him, remember I was joking on the last podcast, fix my Breitling. I gave it to him. He took it, did some sort of stuff on the innards of it, and I've had it back for a week. And it's perfectly. It was running for every other day. I'd have to recalibrate it, and it was always 5 minutes ahead within 2 days. I've had it for a week, and the timing is perfectly. So thank you, John Hedges at Fixology.
And they also repair tablets as well as and iPhones, everything else. They can kind of fix everything. They also sell really cool watches and accessories. 2 locations, 3rd floor of the Mall of America by Nordstrom's. I go by there a lot. And also downtown Minneapolis in the Skyway, just south of the Wells Fargo Center, in the Marquette building right across from Dunn Brothers, is a smaller shop, but it's a very convenient place if you work downtown Minneapolis to drop your stuff off at.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at Fixologyrepair.com or at FixologyMN on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
I hate ending sentences with the word at. That's really awkward. I'll try not to ever do that again. Let's do some more Twitter questions from Philip Kallenberg, our buddy, who usually sends questions right through Vicky Stevens.
I'm surprised he didn't invite Vicky for this studio show, Jim.
He might have. Well, Vicky's always around. She's kind of our stalker. Did I say that out loud? I said it out loud.
I can't believe that Vicky didn't come to the Athletic birthday party the other day. Very disappointed.
Why didn't she?
I didn't ask. I didn't feel like it was my business.
But you're making it your business right now.
I was hurt.
You're making it your business right now.
By the way, if you are an Athletic subscriber and you run into me on the street, I have about 200 Athletic phone wallets extra that was sent to me for this thing. You know what a phone wallet is? It's the thing that you tape to the back, and it has like this logo on it, and you can put credit cards or business cards on it.
My wife uses one of those.
Yeah, I'll get you one.
Okay, I can't wait to have it.
I want to see you walk through the Strib office with that thing on.
Like I'm ever going to be in the Strib office. That's pretty funny. From Philip Kallenberg, what is the player capacity of the Tria elevator? Which is a great question. Will it look small from the photos, and how long before the players are tired of waiting their turn for a number of elevator trips with Russo Hockey lurking in the hallway, evaluating possible injuries?
That's a good point. About probably like 3.5 goalies and about 6-7 players. Probably a lot more. I'm sure they're fine cramming in on the way up, but afterwards I'm sure they're going to want to be a little, stay away since they're going to be all gross and sweaty and everything. But, guys usually come off at different times and go on the ice at different times. So I don't think it'll be an interesting, a big issue. But I jokingly said to Bruce the other day on the radio, I said, it would be a good excuse if somebody says, "Hey, coach, sorry I'm late, but the elevator got stuck." So that'd probably be your only. He laughed. So I'm a very funny person, Jim.
I've heard that. I'm waiting for evidence, but I've heard that. From Patrick Gage, thoughts on Greenway at center. I think Bruce will test that at some point.
I think he'd test it, but again, and just because also Eriksson Ek can play wing, but I think it makes a lot of sense. There's the dynamic there also is the fact that Bruce would like to keep Coyle at one position this year and not move him back and forth. But the other dynamic is that Paul Fenton's really good friends with David Quinn, who is his BU coach who tried that experiment, and I think that Fenton believes that that's potentially an issue. In camp, originally they were actually thinking of putting him on right wing on the Parisi-Koivu line, but I think they want to give him the best position to succeed and put him at a kind of a position that's natural. But if you think about it, the last year he's played center, so maybe it would be easier for him to play at that position. But I still think that in an NHL system, you want a big guy like that along the wall, and I think that's what they're going to try early on.
We have a few more Twitter questions to get to, a couple other topics to get to. I do want to thank Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, Hoaglund, 11351 Aquila Drive in Champlin, but through his app, through actual phones, through the website, you can work with Tony no matter where you're located. Michael and I both get our insurance through Tony Hoaglund.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
From Kelly Riley,
You know who also does?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Well, I mean, State Farm.
Thank you. I was hoping we had a scoop here that Aaron Rodgers has
Maybe
a
he does
Minnesota
use him.
base. Maybe let's say he does.
My guess is that Aaron Rodgers doesn't pay for his insurance. That's just my guess. I think that's probably part of his deal with State Farm when we see him on every commercial every minute.
And that is the way the world works.
Yeah.
If you are rich,
and can afford
you get stuff for free.
Yeah.
If you're not rich, you got to pay.
Yeah. If you can afford a natural disaster, if your house is destroyed or your car is totaled, you don't have to pay. But if you
multiple houses, you can afford. Yeah. From Kelly Riley, will Sam Annis get a shot this year?
As I just said, his shot would have to come in the frame of call-ups. It would take a lot of injuries for him to make the team. There's one spot. Again, if you consider up front that they're going to probably keep 13 forwards, and you consider that it's again if they're healthy and coming out of camp, Zuckerstall, Granlund, Parisi, Koivu, Niederreiter, Eriksson Ek, Coyle, and then Hendricks, Brown, Fair, and Foligno. That's 12. Well, there's one spot then. And we all know, again, that Greenway's got the inside track at that. So, and then after Greenway, you got to think Matt Reed. And then after Matt Reed, you got to think Kyle Rao. And then after Kyle Rao, you probably even think Luke Cunnin. And then after that, maybe even Landon Ferraro or Cal O'Reilly. I don't even know if Cal O'Reilly's still in this organization. And then Sam Annis. So, again, probably not. He would have to be absolutely sensational in camp.
From Serious Mashup, so Leopold has managed to miss out on Yzerman twice.
Well, I've got to hope that was sarcastic.
Yeah, I think it was. From Russo's.
Again, do you think if it's not sarcastic, let me admonish you. Again, he wanted to hire him. He actually was about to offer the job to Chuck and could not get it out of his head that he actually went back and met with Yzerman a second time to try to convince him that he could do both jobs, as I've reported many times. Then he hired Chuck, so he didn't miss out on him. And this time, this guy is leaving Tampa to go home for a quality of life reason. And if he, and again, you don't know that that's going to happen if you're Craig. And second of all, he's got a year left on his contract, so Craig couldn't have hired him even if he did know. And again, 3, we got to think that he's probably the next Red Wings GM. So
from Russo Slorts, will you be making fun of making the trip to Des Moines for the Wild Blues preseason game?
Yeah, I'm going to get a face tattoo. I already said that on Twitter.
To go with your neck tattoo?
To go with my Slorts.
From, let's see, Mikey Serpico actually tweeted me to talk about the pronunciation of Millar and Barber. I think I got it right. If I got it wrong, somebody let me know. From Carson on Twitter, if you had to fight one player on the Wild, who would it be and why?
No comment. I don't think there's anybody on this team I'd fight. All the
Pretty mild-mannered group, actually.
Yeah.
From Kyle.
Now, if you ask that the other way around, I'm sure that about 15 players would probably raise their hand to fight me.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And they probably go 15-on-1, too.
Yeah.
From Carson on Twitter, from Kyle, Wild4 Running on Twitter, what is your impression of our other Russian prospects, Sokolov and Kovanov?
Well, I talked about Kovanov and Sokolov. Same thing I've always said. A ton of skill. Can shoot the puck like very few players in this organization. Now he's just going to go to the minors and learn to be a pro, learn the two-way game, get his fitness under control, and maybe they got themselves a heck of a player here.
From Russo's Filter on Twitter, he lists his fast food fries power ranking. This is very important stuff. Number 6, Burger King. Number 5, Arby's. Number 4, McDonald's. Number 3, Wendy's. Number 2, In-N-Out Burger. Number 1, Five Guys. Do you have an opinion?
I haven't had a French fry since like 2002. I'm not kidding. And I'm shocked that Russo's Filter doesn't know that.
What's amazing is if you're a geek like me and you read everything that comes across your feed and read newspapers and magazines and everything else, I end up reading about health stuff. And I always figured that ice cream or something like that would be like the most, or alcohol would be like the most deadly food. And a lot of health organizations think that French fries are the absolute worst food you can eat.
Not shocking. Well, I'm not kidding. December 11, 2002.
Really?
I remember the date even. I just
and
quit fast food. I quit fast food. I got myself on a diet, but I do remember on the way to basically I joined a weight loss place, and on the way there I stopped at Burger King. So,
you know what? I don't eat fast food anymore, and I rarely eat French fries. It's it's not a rule. I just don't do it very often. But you know what I miss sometimes? I miss McDonald's fries when they're hot.
Yeah, I liked McDonald's and Wendy's back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that was the problem. I remember always driving to Panther games and stopping at Wendy's. That probably wasn't a good pregame meal.
Yeah, all of a sudden this sounds like a Jim Gaffigan routine.
Yeah, I know. Wow, I just had an epiphany, so that's why.
Who's your favorite comedian, by the way?
Who's my favorite comedian? Well, I mean, I'm a huge Seinfeld, the show fan.
Right. I tell you what, I have seen him live.
Yep.
He puts on a really good show.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Emo Phillips. I loved Eddie Murphy. I still remember listening to Eddie Murphy raw on, I do my paper route. I used to listen to that. I used to be able to do the entire routines, like the Ice Cream Man is coming routine. I think that was Eddie Murphy raw, or was the other one Mom, the Ice Cream Man is coming. Get out your money. So those are that. Current, the person I was going to say, it's just not appropriate to say him anymore.
Right.
Louis C.K.
Oh, I know. I thought you were going to say Bill Cosby.
No, I was going to say Louis C.K. I mean, that's the last comedian I saw in concert. Let's put it that way.
Here's the thing about Louis C.K. is he was/is great. My dog is chewing the crud out of something. I apologize if that's coming through on the feed. I'm not really in a position to correct him at the moment. Good Lord, it's like having a kid. Louis C.K. is brilliant. But the thing is, if you go back and listen to a lot of his routines, they basically kind of hint at the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, he wasn't hiding it.
No,
that's
he
the
really wasn't.
Thing. By the way, the bone is a lot more tolerable than that one time when you were doing pots and pans.
Yeah, that was
on
that
Skype.
was much worse.
Remember that?
That was.
I know that when I leave here, I'm going to think of a comedian that I obviously absolutely love.
Here's one that just popped in my head. I love Jim Gaffigan. But Stephen Wright, brilliant.
Oh, my God. I was such a fan of him as a kid.
I mean,
It was pretty much Emo Phillips, Stephen Wright, and Eddie Murphy when I was a kid.
It's a small
That's
world,
who I listened.
But you wouldn't want to have to paint it.
Yeah, the guy is just brilliant. I remember I saw him in person once at the airport. I almost had a heart attack because he looks like my Uncle Gary.
You saw him? I thought you were saying you saw him do his act.
No.
You just saw him at the airport.
But I will say, before Louis C.K., the people that I saw in concert was, so my buddy Craig Minervini is the Panthers and Marlins announcer. His brother Richie Minervini is a famous comedian, and he always opens for Ray Romano and Kevin James.
Oh, wow.
Been in all of Kevin James' movies. They grew up together. So I saw the three of them in concert at the Mirage, and it was absolutely hilarious. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Then what's really cool is we got to hang out after the show with Richie, Ray Romano, and then Gary Valentine, which Gary Valentine, I don't know, look him up on YouTube. He is Kevin James' actual brother. Kevin James is not Kevin James's real name. His last name is really Valentine. So if you look up Gary Valentine on YouTube, you'd recognize him. Yep. That's his brother, and we wound up hanging out all night. Ray Romano, we played craps with. I got pictures all over my Facebook of us playing craps. He made me and my buddy Rolf and Craig a fortune. Like a lot of money, and he was barely gambling. And that's the second time I gambled Ray Romano. I told him this story about 4 or 5 years before. I played head-to-head with him in a sit-and-go tournament at the Mirage, and he and I split the pot at the end. It was a $500 sit-and-go table, and he and I split the winnings at the end because he had to go do his act. And I told him at the end, I said, I love you as a comedian, but I got to tell you, everybody loves Raymond. I'm a sports writer, and it's the most inaccurate resemblance of a sports writer. He's never on deadline. He's not an alcoholic.
He's not stressed.
Take care of himself. He's not, overweight.
He spends time with his family.
Yeah, he's always home. He's
always
never
home.
in a press box.
Yeah.
So I told him that. So when I saw him again backstage at the show with Richie, and I reminded him, he goes, "I remember that. I've actually thought about using that in my act." So, but anyway, nice guy.
Ray Romano, I think he's a good comedian, but he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Raymond.
He is a great actor.
Fantastic.
All his movies where he plays dramatic roles, he's really good too.
And I don't know, I can't remember it might be streaming or whatever, but it's Get Shorty.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big Elmore Leonard fan, and I love Get Shorty. It's as a book, and I love everything about Elmore Leonard. He also wrote the short story that inspired Justify, which is one of my favorite TV series of all time. So now Get Shorty is a TV series with Ray Romano, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Larry David's another one.
Yeah.
I will say I saw Bill Maher at the Mirage a couple years ago, and I was actually I could not believe how mean he was to the audience.
He's really mean.
There was somebody that was actually like on their phone during the thing, was texting from the third or fourth row, and he attacked this woman, called her the C word, like 10 different times, to the point that it was uncomfortable and made him beyond unlikable. Right. It was unbelievable. Just would not stop, to the point that people were actually walking out of the concert. It was in the same theater that I saw Ray Romano, Richie Minervini, and Kevin James. There was a guy named Garvey that was Richie Minervini's best buddy that I saw years ago. He died of cancer. He was so funny. David Brenner is somebody that I saw once at I shouldn't say where I saw him.
Okay.
But he, honestly, 3 weeks after I saw him, he died of a heart attack in Vegas. He used to play the Hilton forever. Remember the Hilton?
Reminds me, one of my nieces once, when my father was alive, my dad, he's a military guy, and he loved dramatic stories, and he was telling a story at a family gathering, and one of my nieces turned to one of us and said, "How come at the end of all your grandpa's stories, somebody dies?"
Mm.
I think he wanted to tell those kind of stories where the kicker was somebody actually died.
Yeah.
That wasn't a good story for me to tell. I shouldn't have told that. Brandon, you can cut that out if you want.
Like Brandon's listening.
Yeah, no kidding. Brandon hasn't listened in years. All right. I'm going to throw it to final thought, a palate cleansing final thought, since I just brought the show crashing to a halt. After I thank Dulono's Pizza, a great delivery area, great place to go, late night, before games, whatever. TwillMN.com and the Edina Galleria, Whizkids.tech, Fixologyrepair.com, and Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent at Champlin. Remember, download before you listen. Thanks to Brandon Morton, and email me if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of these shows around the network, including Jeff Diamond's new show, JSOUHAN47@gmail.com. Final thought, Mike.
What do you think of the Wild's new policy of clear bags or very, very small bags going into the arena? Does it make you feel safer?
It does not make me feel safer, and if I were a fan, it would probably annoy me.
Yeah, it'd be weird to walk in there with this wide open clear bag for everybody to see.
And I'm not going to get.
I'm just scared to find the security person that I walk in with my gigantic bag and they think that, oh no, sorry, and you got to fight to get in with your laptop.
Yeah, I think it's probably an unnecessary step. But
look, right now, it's better be safe than sorry in this world. I was a little shocked at how easy it is to get into the state fair with anything bags, whatever, but also like there is some soft spots in security. Like I love like when you go to say some sort of festival right now, or like now, like when they have fireworks down at St. Anthony, Maine, and you can't get trucks in there. Like you see all these terrorist attacks that happen overseas now, or things like that. There are so many soft spots in the state fair where you could drive a freaking 18-wheeler into there. It's crazy, and. So I actually rather be safe, just the appearance of them checking, I think is a good thing because, like, let's be honest, like if there's going to be a terrorist attack in this country, it's next going to happen at a sporting event. Where would it? Where wouldn't, I mean, look what happened at Paris with the soccer game.
Look at what happened in Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, again, obviously Vegas. But again, the concert, with the band name is escaping me. Death Metal. What's the name of the band that it was in Paris?
Oh,
Google it.
It's not Queens of the Stone Age.
No, that's the guy is also in that band, or the drummer is also in Queens of the Stone Age. It's like Death Metal something.
Anyway, yeah, I can't remember.
Paris.
I'm not a death metal person.
Here, I'll look it up. Because also the guy is really incredible documentary.
Eagles of Death Metal.
Eagles of Death Metal.
Yep.
So if you want to watch an incredible documentary that is riveting, but you will be bawling, crying after, which who doesn't want to?
It sounds
watch
great.
That? I'm not kidding you. Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, produced a documentary on the Eagles of Death Metal, going back to Paris after the attack, like a month or two later. It is horrendously gripping. I mean, I can't tell you how cool this lead singer is, and the guts that it took to go back on that stage not long after that attack. I really highly recommend it. It was just absolutely riveting, and it's so sad but so uplifting at the end. I would highly recommend that. And Eagles of Death Metal did the score. Score is the wrong word, but for Super Troopers 2.
Oh, cool.
What's that? It's not the score.
Score, soundtrack.
Soundtrack. There you go.
This was kind of a disjointed, weird show. We hit a lot of different topics, and
I'm thinking about like what you're going to write Brandon as the topic to tweet. I would say something on Iserman. Something on who's your favorite comedian?
Right. Yep.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Yep.
And
Death. And Death. Yeah, we'll get the Death in there.
Yeah.
And for those of you who suffered through this show and listened to all the disjointed
I know
stuff,
this was a good show.
I will just promise you it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It'll absolutely get worse. Maybe as early
September
as
18th.
September 18th, and come watch us sweat live. September 18th.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring some athletic phone wallets there for people that didn't make it to the party.
That will just be thrilling for everyone.
Yeah. You know what I have to do the next day? Maybe you should come with me. You want to carpool somewhere?
No.
Carpool with me somewhere.
Where?
Des Moines.
No.
Don't you want to see the Wild play the St. Louis Blues? Don't you want to,
That's
this
Wednesday
is your
the
chance.
19th?
Yeah, Jim, this is your chance to just really get a good feel of guys like Sokolov and maybe Kovanov.
People aren't going to play in the NHL this year?
Yeah, or ever.
That'd be great. Yeah, I already covered the Twins. I do that all the time.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
It's your last chance to get gifts before the holiday, and right now at Old Navy, everything's up to 75% off with gifts from just $1, $2, $3, and $4. Buy online, pick up in store for free in 2 hours with extended store hours too. Get up to 75% off everything at Old Navy and OldNavy.com now. Valid 12/18 to 12/24, excludes gift cards, today only, 2-day only deals, register lane items, jewelry, and Zip Zap stuff gifting bins. Orders must be placed before 4 p.m. for same-day pickup, subject to availability and delays. Additional terms apply.
Security threats are everywhere. But with Xfinity XFi, you're notified of threats to your in-home Wi-Fi network, so all your connected devices are protected. That's simple, easy, awesome. Switch to Xfinity today and get a great offer. You'll get fast speeds and the best in-home Wi-Fi experience with Xfinity XFi. Plus, Ask about enhanced security for safer browsing and more. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store to switch today. Restrictions apply.